Hello everyone. Today we are going to be looking at the PTR and the new patch that is coming up, with the idea of building a new build kind of geared towards what we're expecting the meta to be. With the Blue Flame Hellion buff, Zerg should be facing a lot of Blue Flame Hellion pushes. It's kind of natural. People are going to want to try it out once it's live. Additionally, it's a very strong buff. It will lead to very powerful pushes. So with that being said, today we are doing a build that's going to focus on going roaches rather early, making sure that we're pretty safe, and then working into Hydra in the late game. So we're going to go ahead and I kind of accidentally stopped my drone here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to expand first at 18 supply. Take the gas. Take the spawning pool. Nothing too crazy. Technically, I could have pulled from the minerals and done both the extractor and the spawning pool a little bit sooner, because now that hatcheries are 25 minerals less, that means that we are just 25 minerals closer to the extractor, 25 minerals closer to the spawning pool. And it's going to save 1 to 2 seconds on both of those. As you can see here, we have 16 workers on the minerals and we have 1 on gas, and this is where I find this build to be pretty strong. Now, I opted to continue drone production and just let the first couple drones a long distance mine once or twice before the hatchery was done. Granted, the hatchery was a few seconds late anyway. Alternatively, you could just wait, save the 3 larvae, build 6 lings all at once to make sure you're safe and secure, and then continue the drone production immediately after. But in this particular case, I just went for the drones first, delayed the lings just slightly, while we focus on getting a couple queens. Now we have 1 worker on gas, and you can see that at the moment we have 64, 68 gas. And our goal here is to just get enough that we can start the lair. So what I'm going to do is, as soon as the queen is done, I'm going to put 2 more workers on the gas. You can see there, we pulled it off. We're going to replenish the mineral line, bring it back up to 16, and continue to work on the minerals at the natural as well. As soon as we have 100 gas, we're going to start lair. And then once we have lair, this is when we're going to get a roach warren and start working on our other gases. So the roach warren goes down in front as part of a wall. We get the second gas. Our third's nearly complete. And we're getting the evolution chamber. Now I also follow this up with double spine crawler. And now, with the traditional Hellion opening, the first Hellions and Reapers usually show up around the 4-minute mark. And typically it's about 2 Hellions, 1 Reaper, and then around 4:15 or so, this will go up to 4 Hellions and a Reaper. So you want to really make sure that you're nice and safe. We get the wall. And you see here right around that 4:15 mark, the spine crawler is going to get done. And we can just sit our queen here. If nothing else, we move the queen forward. We block the ramp. Well, it's not a ramp in this case, but block the choke point. Defend the Hellions. Let the increased spine crawler damage do its thing. Push our opponent away from our base, away from our mineral line, make sure that our drones are safe, because that's where the real danger is going to come in. Now you can see on the other side of the map, Aaron is going Hellions and tanks. Got a second factory. a third factory on the way. Right now our goal is just kind of defend the first 2 bases, start building roaches. I didn't exactly talk about these timings, but we can go back and talk about the timings. The overall intro to this is just going to be the concept of what we're doing. We're taking the 2 bases. We just got the gases. We're going to saturate these in a second. And we're just kind of defending this key point here. Now, I do have a few roaches in the main base in case a drop comes in. But the whole goal here is to simply build the roaches, put ourselves in a safe spot, get a couple spine crawlers in this base here, and you'll see in a little bit we'll do a nice interesting thing with the wall to again just stop blue flame hellions from coming in, killing all of our workers, or even if they manage to kill some of the workers, hopefully mitigate the damage. But as long as we're vigilant and we're paying attention to the map, we should be able to save all of these workers. This particular base is pretty easy to defend. Hellion run-bys. You can see our +1 roach speed is done. We're moving across the map. We're looking for some damage. Pick off a couple of his blue flame hellions. But with the tanks, we just decided to fall back. I started working to Hydra. Hit the Hydra and the infestation pit at the same time. Want to get Hive. I want to go for the new Hydra boost ability. I find it really interesting. We're kind of trying to test it out. I think it has lots of good purposes. And we'll really find a nice spot to play around with. I think versus charge lots, if charge lots end up running onto the Hydra, once the charge is over, you can dash away. I think that's pretty strong. Additionally, if you're trying to defend drops, medevac comes in, drops some stuff, pull Hydra to defend. They load up, try to run away, you dash right to the edge, take them out, defend yourself. I think that's really strong. So here we can see we build 2 evolution chambers to the north, 1 here, spine crawler there, and the only way to get into the base to attack the workers is to this little gap here, just big enough for the queen. So even if hellions try to come in, if the queen positions herself right here, the hellions will get trapped. They might be able to reach a couple of these workers from here, but really only be able to get 1 or 2, maybe 3. And the spine crawlers will just do damage, the queen will do damage, and the mineral line will be secure. So this is a pretty safe, pretty easy defense. We could do something similar over here. It's a little bit trickier. We'll have to build a building here, a couple buildings here, a couple buildings here. So not quite as clean as this one, but I find the first 3 bases on this particular map pretty easy to defend. You can see we catch the army out over here. A nice little surround, pull my roaches forward to tank the tank shots, and the hydras kind of creep around. Now from here we go on to eventually win the game. We take some interesting fights, some good, some bad. But we do go on to win, so we'll go ahead and we'll time score this and just talk about how we're upgrading constantly. We have the Hive tech, we have Ultrask available, and we're able to, as I can see here, or as I said earlier, take a really bad fight here and still be in an okay spot, as our technology is very strong, our economy is very strong. And the whole goal is just focus on this Roach Hydra army until we're into the late game with the Ultralisk. And then we start switching to Ultralisking Hydra. And we kind of wean off of the Roaches a little bit. Roaches are not super good into the late game, but they're mediocre in the early to mid game. But get the job done when you're fighting Blue Flame Hellions. The Ultras change coming into play a little bit. Kind of pushing through one or two of those Roaches. Not really a big deal. A little micro fixes that. Even without the push through. Where I really find the Ultras change helping is when there's a lot of Zerglings involved. I find that to be really good. There are certain situations where you do a run by, maybe you attack a planetary fortress or you attack a base that has some bunkers. You send a bunch of Lings and a couple Ultralisks, like 3-4 Ultralisks, just to take out the planetary fortress, and then the Lings kind of group up. And the same way these ones are running around in the back, the Ultralisks before would run around in the back trying to get to the planetary fortress and couldn't quite get to it. And now the Ultras are just going to move the Lings out of the way and be like, hey, I want to attack this. I want to fight. It's kind of nice in those situations where there's a lot of Lings just blocking one little path. Very rare instance. It's not anything that happens a lot, but it happens enough to appreciate the quality of life change with the Ultralisk. I think that's how it should have always been. So it is rather nice. Like I said, I go on to win this game. I built a bunch of Ultralisks. He's going mech. And we just kind of overwhelm him with Ultralisking Hydra and a couple of Vipers. You can see here we have Vipers out. We split. Some nice little blinding clouds. Do it again. Even a couple of ducks to really get a few of the tanks in the back. And then GG is called. Now we're going to go ahead and continue back a little bit. I have to remember what the hotkey is when using this particular. It doesn't tell me. Oh, it tells me here. There we go. We are looking for the replay thingy. Control Shift O. Okay. That's what I thought it was. It's not working. Maybe because I let the replay finish. Let's just rewind a little bit. It does not want to let me do it. Alright, well, we're going to cut this back into an earlier part of the video. Alright, going back. Technical difficulties aside, we're going to start from where the Queen's just finished. We're building drones. We take the 3-minute third. Very standard. This was actually a 245 third in this particular case. So very standard, anywhere from 245 to 3 minutes. So you take this. You'll have 4 or 5 workers. On the mineral line, I did push that economy a little bit and chose to go for the greedier play. And then let's talk about the things that we chain together. So, first 100 gas, the lair. As soon as the lair starts, we chain the Roach horn. We chain the second gas. We're not worried too much about the supply. The supply could fluctuate slightly. If the opponent is applying pressure, we may need to build a few Lings to defend. Might change what supply we start stuff at. So we're not focusing too much there. We're focusing on what we have and what we need next. So we built the lair, the Roach horn, the gas, evolution chamber, 2 spine crawlers. Immediately upon the layer being finished, we are building Roach speed. I can see here, if I go ahead and pause it, I am at 164 gas. The layer just finished. We're now able to start this, which we do here, and then we're at 92 gas and can start +1 immediately there. So before we ever build any roaches, we have started our layer, we've started Roach speed, and we've started +1 attack. So all 3 of those things are going before we ever build any roaches. So 300 gas has been spent, and this is when we first start to expand our gas as well. You can see up here, I have 2 drones. In production, we're starting to saturate the 3rd. I rallied 2 workers to these gases so I can increase the gas. And when we have about 8 workers here, is when I will start to build workers for the gases. 3 more workers in production. And so again, we're focusing less on exactly the time, exactly the supply. We're not being super specific with it there. Instead, we're focusing on what we have and what we need. So 3rd queen finished up, 6 workers on the base. We start getting the spine crawlers because again, we want to defend our economy. This base is super secure. We have 4 roaches out front. We have a few roaches going to the main base as well in case a drop comes in. Really trying to avoid the blue flame hellions. Now this Terran is a little bit more passive. He scanned, he saw the roaches. He chose to go a little bit more for tanks and to try to harass a little bit later. It's a very interesting choice. I don't know if it was necessarily a great one, but it was just one of those things that he kind of adapted as it happened. And you see here the gases, the drones, everything is just solid. And so that's going to be the focus. That's what you guys should really focus on. Not a specific thing, but instead a concept. Do I have my layer? No, I need it. Build it. Is the layer there now? Yes. Roach horn, right? Chain these things together, build them off of each other. Because when you're trying to remember a supply, when you're trying to remember a certain timing, lots of numbers are being jumbled around. Lots of things in the game can really interrupt that flow. Whether someone's extra aggressive, whether someone's extra passive, whether you decide to be aggressive, whether you're deciding to be passive, all these things can dictate the timing of a build. So instead, we're focusing more on conceptual timing, lair, roach horn, evolution chamber, speed, hydroden, infestation pit, hive. Right, all these things are chaining together one after another, right? So once the 4 gases are saturated, that's when we built the hydroden and infestation pit. It wasn't a timing, it wasn't a supply, it was, do we have 4 gases? Yes, I can afford this. The money is there. Let's go ahead and build this stuff. So we build this stuff. Infestation pit's done. Cool. Let's start the hive. Right? Chaining it together like that will make all of your builds much smoother. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you like this new build and this like very semi-turtle hyper aggressive roach. Because I do think that with blue flame hellions in this new patch coming up, this is going to be very strong. So please enjoy. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share. And I will catch you guys next time. Take care.